Hi, and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And it is, or it will be, September when you see this. So happy September. And
I don't know what happened to August.
it flew by. It
Yes.
flew by, yes. And if we sound a little echoey, it's because we're in their house, which is now devoid of most furniture. And so we're hiding Beth with a beautiful, lovely cactus today, just to represent
A little fake cactus,
Arizona.
right?
It's fake.
Is it fake? Yeah.
I bought it for the class I was teaching, and I had to shine a little flashlight on it too, because the picture had shadows.
Mm.
And while they got it on this thing, I don't think they really got it on the drawing. And, because I was like, see where the highlights are, and here's the shadows.
What age group?
Elementary school.
Oh, nice.
But, I think it's really good to have a visual aid, especially because, like here, you can see the shadow on the bottom of the bowl very well, but in a school, the lighting is different. And so even with that little flashlight, you really couldn't see the shadow on the plate. On the table. You could see it on the cactus, but you couldn't see it on the table.
Yeah.
And I needed to make them understand that, in the drawing, the shadow needed to connect to the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah.
Just like I said, your shadow doesn't leave your feet. It's always connected to you.
It'd be neat if you could hold it outside.
At least your cactus doesn't poke you.
Huh?
It'd be neat.
At least your cactus doesn't poke you.
Yeah.
No.
That's a fake one. At least, it'd be nice if you could hold it outside in the sunlight.
Yeah,
That'd be neat.
Except that neither classroom is
Accessible.
easily accessible.
And it's 100 whatever, so.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I have to wear an apron. Like I come back and I'm like, I'm so hot.
I guess you're going first, Steve?
Yeah. So I finished my August cross-stitch camp piece. It's the Birds of a Feather handwork. Do you pronounce that the same when it has an E on the end? Yeah. Handworks series from Scattered Seed Samplers. I haven't seen any of the others, but honestly, I haven't really looked. This is Little Berry Thief Pin Keep. And I made my bird a quail.
So cute.
I'm not gonna unfold this. I have like a whole piece of fabric, but the light comes through it too much. So here it is. Isn't he cute? I just really loved this. They had a display at the attic of the finished item, and
it's a berry.
It's a berry. It's a big fat berry. Look.
Oh, I see.
And look how it's stitched up the back.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So, and there's instructions and all that, so that's good. But I loved the berry when I saw it sitting there. I was like, that is so cute, but they didn't have the pattern. And one day I saw the pattern there and I was like, I need that. Do we really need new patterns? Yes, we do.
Apparently we do.
Well, you know how it is. Anyway, I'm excited. I finished my cross-stitch camp piece. I 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Isn't there a song that says that?
Probably.
Kenny Rogers or something. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Well, right now I'm working on my second WIP-GO piece for August. This is something by Tiny Modernist.
Something? What's the name of it?
It's not.
When witches go riding.
Yeah.
It was a SAL that started in July 2 years ago.
I was watching.
Yeah, I'm not going to finish it this year either.
I was watching some a Flosstube where this person was, I guess, featuring lots of. I guess she had prairie schooler patterns or whatever, and one of them was when witches go riding. You know, like it looked very different, but it was
a lot of designers do one using the same thing because it's
Yeah.
a poem.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where I am, and if you recall, last week this word was not here. I started on the hat.
Whispers.
Yeah, I think I had started the W. And I extended this further, but honestly, I got so sick of this color, I was just like, eh, I got to do something different. So, most of the word whispers I put in, and a good deal of this little thingy going. I guess you would call it an eye stalk because the eye's on top. I don't know. But
These little ghosts are so cute.
So that's close to the bottom. I'm working on this little hat, but I will put it away after today until the next time it's called on a WIP-GO. I'll put it on next year's WIP-GO. I would like to eventually finish it, but right now I can't FFO anything, and I'm not used to working. I came back from that first class. I was so hot and so tired, and I said, I'm going to get in the pool, and I got in my suit and I went in the pool, and I just walked into the pool and went, I'm too tired to do this. And I walked back out. And for the first time in my life, I went in to take a bath, and for the first time in my life, I was afraid I was going to fall asleep in the tub. But, so I didn't get a lot done on it. It's not just the move, it's, everything else going on in my life. So this is what I'm working on right now, and however much I get done today is how much it's going to be done until next year. And it almost certainly will be done next year, although I'm thinking about not doing WIP-GO next year and just assigning 2 patterns, 2 WIPs to every month so that they come up in the month I actually want to stitch them. So, because sometimes I'm like, that's a Halloween pattern, I don't want to do it in December, something like that.
Yeah.
So, or, if you want to finish it for some particular thing, you can decide. I love WIP-GO. I love the way it has you, just makes you think about your WIPs and take them out, But I think I might just say I'm going to concentrate on these 2, Anyway, I have not, last week I barely did anything on 2023 temperature SAL. I'm working on the flowers down here. By the time I got to this yesterday, I was just like, it was like 11 o'clock, and I was like, because of house stuff, it's not like it's the only thing I have to do, but I just didn't feel like doing anything at all. But I did get this this one color, I'm almost done with it. I have a little bit more to do in this flower right here, but
That's so pretty. You look like you're almost done.
I am. I considered working on this instead, but this is the last day for this, so yeah, so I decided to work on that. Because this has no timetable.
Right.
And it's not like I can FFO it unless I had money to take it like to Hobby Lobby or something, which would probably turn out beautiful. But I don't want an extra thing that is dimensional to have to carry. My turtle for August is actually interesting. So before I start with that, the lines on the turtle are supposed to be done in the same color as the fins and the head. I don't like it on this dark red. You can't really see it. And I'm like, should I just pick a lighter green? I don't know.
Yes, you should do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, I'm like.
But you already did it in that same color.
On this one, but I haven't done this one because I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
So, this is.
If by interesting you mean that there was one day in August that was not as hot.
Two. This one's not as cool as that one, but but this past week,
It's been
except for one day,
quite nice.
except for one day, it was all the same temperature, not the same color, the same temperature. It was 106 all week except for one day.
But we like the 106.
We do because
106 is human.
yeah. So and it's been like not truly storming, like what most people would consider a storm, but you get mist isn't even a proper word. A few droplets of water.
We got a whole ton this week. We got a deluge. Yeah, it was tons of rain.
We got rain one day at night. I mean, there's thunder and lightning, but it lasted, I don't know, 10 minutes.
It was a lot. We got a lot of rain, and I can't remember now what day it was. But
anyway,
nice.
well, the day that we got a lot of rain was this light colored.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have one more day to go on this guy and start on September, which it will start really cooling down. I got in the pool and I was like, it's cold. I mean, you warm up right away because it's not super cold, but the days of bathtub pools are past us this year. Anyway, that is that. Now, my WIP-GO calls for September. One of them is the one, I love this pattern.
I was going to say, you love that
I
lantern.
love this pattern.
It's so pretty.
Is that the lantern one?
Yeah, with the cardinal.
Christmas lantern, Twin Peak Primitives.
Oh, so
Did I say those turtles were Stitch-a Mommy? The turtles are Stitch-a Mommy temperature turtles. I absolutely love this, and I'm doing it on, it's all DMC colors. Patterns from overseas, unless it's Owl Forest embroidery, they're usually DMC. I'm doing it on a DMC shiny gold, which means that the white doesn't show up very well because I am really good at picking fabrics that my colors don't show up on.
it's a talent.
But I think once it's finished, this shiny gold is going to be absolutely stunning. So I'm excited to be able to work on this. Will I finish it? Likely not, because...
Yes, you're going to finish it. You're going to be positive.
I mean, in these 10 days. I mean, in these 10 days, because truth be told, I'm hoping that we have something to do, like moving to a different house. But I will work on this. I'm excited to work on this. And at least 99.9% of the cleaning and all that stuff is done. Now we'll just have to be corralling animals and running around town like we have something to do. Okay, and then the other one, I put I have a series by, I'm trying to put them right side up. I have a series by Cross Stitching for Fun. The first one I saw was this one. This is Summer. And forgive me, I don't know the name of the pattern. Art Deco Summer. From the Art Deco Seasons pattern.
I love those.
This is the first one I saw. So I went, at that time they had an Etsy shop, and I went on Etsy and discovered that I wanted all of them. Well, I liked 3 of them. So I'm like, I'm not going to get 3 of them, not get all 4. So I started with spring. This is not done, but it's getting there. This is spring. So I could work on this.
Let me see.
Along with the bugs.
The last time it was called on WIP-GO, I said, you know what? I'm going to start the next season because that's the one I liked, right?
Mm-hmm.
The summer. Yeah. I didn't get very far.
Let me see. I can't see it. Oh.
I'm trying. I didn't get very far because they're very, this dragonfly has, I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 threads in that little guy, right? And that's what gives it the, they managed to make those wings look translucent like a dragonfly. So I didn't get very far on this. And I think on the WIP-GO thing, I put this pattern again. Okay. But here's my problem. Oh, by the way, this is 28 count even weave, and I dyed these myself. Although I didn't dye one for winter because the day I was dyeing these, I didn't have enough fabric. I bought another piece, but not right away. So it's September. Should I work on this one? Fall.
Oh, me. I don't know. I think you should work on a WIP and not start something new.
I'm thinking that's true. But I'm like, what are the odds that it would be called in September? And it's very fall. But fall comes every year. So I will probably either do summer, or I should finish the spring one actually. That's the one that's furthest along. And this one I don't have the fabric for yet, but look at this.
The winter one.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it fabulous? The one I don't like as much is the fall one, because
It's just leaves and not
virtually the same color on
yeah.
everything. You know, all the rest of them are very, very colorful.
I'm not really drawn to fall stuff. That the orange or brown palette, you know, kind of.
I love it.
I don't mind the palette. It's just like, I kind of wish there's a couple of leaves that are on the reddish side, you know, and I don't know. But my favorites are the other 3 seasons. Like I said, I saw the fall one and I went, I don't know. I want all 4. So anyway, that's me. I have a decision to make as to which one, but I'm going to work on Christmas lantern first, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, who's next?
Yes, shall I go next?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have 2 finishes and 1 almost finish that I'm working on right now. Let me get, these are my September things. I just have them on top because they're smaller. So I had done my cross-stitch camp piece and my 2, I hit the goal on my 2, get this cactus out of the way.
Here.
I can't reach it.
Don't break my cactus.
Here, we'll put it right here by my thing.
So I had done my goal, hit my goal on my WIP-GO pieces, which were the Sheepish Manor and one of the Prairie Schooler Starry Night charts. This one was, I was restarting number 1. So I finished that, and then my secondary charts, I'm going to keep this, my secondary charts for August were this A Little Town of Bethlehem kind of Bethlehem chart, excuse me, and the shepherd and the sheep out of the series. So I finished, these 2 I had finished earlier, the donkey and the cow and Mary and Joseph, and then so I finished the town of Bethlehem the other day, and I started and finished the shepherd and the sheep. So, and one of my secondary charts for September coming up is another one of these Starry Night charts. It's the, which one is it? This one, the angel flying over the town of Bethlehem and the star. I think that's the one. Yeah. I think that's the one. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it is. So the next one I'll be doing will be the angel. I'll eventually get to it because it's, like I said, it's my secondary chart. One of my secondary charts.
September?
Yeah, for September. So we'll see how that goes. And then, and this is 28 count Irish linen. And then I got it, I don't know, Joann's or Michael's or someplace. So one of my other WIP-GO chart for August, let me take this off the hoop real quick, was Sheepish Manor. There was a Chessie and Me. Is it Chessie and Me? Yes. Oh, and I have the picture somewhere. Not with me right now. Oh, maybe I do. It's a little tiny picture. Yeah. It's a little teeny weeny picture. Sheepish Manor. It was the little kit, Chessie Me kit that I bought at the attic. And let me move my needle minder over here. So this is the one that I famously struggled with the Lizzie Daisy stitches and all that. But all I had left to do was the grass on this hill, And I still have a few rows to do, but it's mostly done. And I'm hoping, because today's the last day of August, I hit the goal. The goal was 7 days, and I had already hit that. But I'm hoping that by the end of the day, I will have finished all this grass. And it's much more stitching than you think, because it's so tiny, and it's just a lot more than it looks like. Because I thought, oh, I'm almost done, but it's like I don't know, 4 or 5 rows of stitching on there. So, but anyway, so this is Sheepish Manor. So if I finish this today, I will have 4 finishes for this month alone. Just yeah, my all of my WIP-GO goals. So, and I'm working on that today. And then for my upcoming WIP-GO stuff for September, the numbers are 4 and 11. And so one of them was this Silver Creek Samplers chart called Lost and Found. And this was among the ones last year. I had one new start for each of my WIP-GO squares. And you can't really see this in this light because it's such a light color. But I did like basically one line right here. And I think this is part of the sheep's tummy, because I started like in the middle. And that's all I did with this one. You can, okay. If I tilt it up, you can see.
Honestly, you can't even see it in person.
Yeah, it's really, when I looked at it, I thought, when I first, some time ago, I looked at this chart, and I looked at the fabric, and I was like, it has a needle minder, and it's in a hoop, yet I started it all, and then I thought, oh yeah, there's some stitches there. So like I said, I think this is the sheep's belly or something like that in this picture. So I'm hoping that as I put in more stitches and do more of the sheep, that that it won't matter that this is so invisible.
Yeah, it'll matter. On the back, it will. That other color will help it on the front.
So anyway, so this is, I'll have the goal on this is 7 days, so I don't expect to finish it, but I will make a more significant than it is, progress on it. And then the other one, the other WIP-GO call is this Lindy Stitches chart called Wandering Sheep. And well, on the first one, on the Silver Creek Samplers one, Lost and Found, the words say, I am a lost sheep gone astray, shepherd find me this I pray, O shepherd listen to my prayer and keep me in thy loving care. So this is a chart from 2020. And so this one from Lindy Stitches, Wandering Sheep, I was a wandering sheep, I once preferred to roam, but now I love my father's voice, I love his home. It's big black sheep. And this one I think is all DMC, the Wandering Sheep one, the Lost and Found. Lost and Found is all DMC. This one is mostly threadwork. There's a couple of DMC colors, I think. My things are stuck between needle minders here. There's a few DMC colors, but the rest are floss called Threadworks, and I bought the floss pack from Lindy Stitches, the Threadworks floss pack. So I have the Threadworks flosses, and then like I said, there's like 3 DMC colors in there, and so this fabric it's Lugana, 28 count Lugana that I dyed myself. This weird, like, I don't know what, pinky purpley, bluish piece of fabric.
It's pretty.
Yeah. And the black showed up really nicely on there. And so I did, in the instructions on the chart, it recommends like doing the outline of the sheep first, and that helps you actually put I put my, you put your initials on here. On this one, it's the, the initials are on the sheep's rear end there. And so I put my initials in. They're hard to see on the camera, but they're there. And actually that helps because I can, then the black the sheep's body is just, fill in. And so with the initials there, then I don't have to allow for them. They're already in there. So, and his legs look really truncated, but they're actually, there's just the beginning of his legs. He has feet on in addition to that. So I'm going to have a lot of sheep to work on this month.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I've noticed you gravitate toward
Sheep and rabbits.
Sheep and bunnies.
Sheep and bunnies.
Yeah. Speaking of bunnies,
Oh no.
so my secondary chart for one of them, I don't remember which one, is one of the rabbits. So I've done January through May are finished, and all the others are in various stages of finishing. So I just have on my WIP-GO chart, it just says rabbit, and then I'm free to choose whatever, whichever month, comes up. So I chose, of course, September. And so this one is actually very close to being finished. I have all the bunnies done, and it's just the greenery and flowers around them that are to be done. And because this is one of my secondary charts, it doesn't have a specific goal. So yeah, I've done the center and I've done most of the greenery, but just like down here on the bottom, and then the individual, like there's red flowers in the corners. So I have that to do, but this piece of fabric, and this is, what do you call it, Murano Crochet that Hobby Lobby used to carry. And this is ice, the color ice.
They still carry one.
I don't know that they do.
I haven't.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't gone super looking, but.
This piece of fabric shares the June chart on there. And so the June chart still has a rabbit to go, and then there's a bunch of, fill-in stuff on this one. The bunnies have like a flower on their body, so all the flowers need to be done, and then there's some hearts and stuff. So, and then, like I said, one of the bunnies here in this corner. So this is the June chart, and so if I had time, I want to work on the June chart as well, just to have it, if I could finish June, then I will have through
6
June
months.
finished, and then I still have August. I had been working on it, little by little, but so it's still roaming around. And then if I could finish September, then so yeah. So I have September and June to do next month, and I think that's me.
All right. We didn't mention at the beginning that we are still working on our giveaway. So when we're done, when I'm done, we'll go over the giveaway items and how you can enter that giveaway. I just was like, oh wait, we forgot. So you remember last week? Was it last week when I was like, I want to make a top out of this beautiful yarn, and
Yes,
it
it
used
was
to have
last
white around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a top. I found a pattern. It is called, I have it here. It is called the Geo top. And what I like about it is that it's very versatile. It has, it's by, I don't know what's by, I don't know. I can't find the designer's name, but it's called Geo, and it's got like different versions of it. I'll put an actual close-up here, but it's got different versions. And initially I was going to make this orange one, which is a cap sleeve and straight down, just straight body, because I thought that was all the yarn I was going to have. And you remember I got a second one. So after getting the second one, I went ahead and I found this pattern, and then I went ahead and started it. And in talking to Hannah, I'm like, I might have enough yarn to do sleeves. They're like they look like maybe like a bracelet length. And she was like, okay. But what I'm gonna have to do, okay, wait, anyway, so let me show you I started this. I don't know what day I started, but it was obviously after, when did we record last? On Saturday? So,
Yeah.
so it was after Saturday. So this is basically a week's worth of knitting. You can see that it starts white on top. You can probably see it better on the back. And there's a gradient starting. It looks like it's dirty, but that's this color, this secondary color coming in. And it's really nice. I'll put a close-up so you can really see the color. It looks like I dipped it in coffee or something. But what I liked about this construction, and it was kind of difficult to do, but what I liked about it is it kind of looks like a V-neck, you see? So this is the back, and you see the front is joined there. The way you start it is you start like basically here, and you go back and forth around the back, and you start the sleeves and then a little bit of the front. So you're kind of making these triangles here. And then after you get to a certain point, it was kind of confusing the way she did it, but I understood it after reading it 1,000 times and actually just jumping in. You finish to a certain point, you cut the yarn, and then on the same needle, you slip it around to the back here, to these stitches. Then you join the yarn and you go back all the way around, and then you cast onto the needle, a certain number of stitches for this front, and then you keep going. And so it was a little bit confusing and a little bit like, why don't you just, when you get to the certain point, cast them on right here and then join to this front? But I think the reason she did it, because when you came back around the second time to those cast on stitches, you did some manipulation with the edges of the cast on to make them more sturdy, and I think that's why. But what I found interesting about that is that later you go and you pick up all these stitches that look like a V kind of. You pick them up and you put a ribbing there, so it makes it a nice round collar. What I liked about it is that while it is difficult to keep your tension as you're knitting flat, so basically you're knitting this top part of the sweater flat, which means like you're knitting one direction and then when you go back you're purling, and sometimes that tension is different than when you're knitting in the round and you're just knitting. So I was a little bit worried about that. However, what this eliminates is what's called short rows. Because obviously in a sweater, you want the back of your neck to be higher, right, than the front of your collar, like that. And oftentimes when you do a top down, you knit in the round, but then at a certain point you do short rows, which means you're still going back and forth, but you're having to do these short row stitches, which are kind of difficult and they kind of show up in your knitting, and I don't always like them. And so this avoided that by just knitting that upper back area flat and then joining at the collar area here, and then you start knitting in the round. So it was kind of difficult for me to understand at first, but I kind of really appreciate it. And so I am working on now just continuing the yoke, and then when the sleeves get to a certain point, I'll put those on a waist yarn and then continue around the body. And so it's just been fun, just a little diversion from that giant sweater I'm making, Hannah. And what's nice is the way, look how this looks, the patterning. It kind of looks like shells. You can see the shadowing there. It's just knits and purls in trapezoid shapes, but I really like the way it looks. And so then it's just going to get darker and darker as we go down the sweater.
That
And
fabric
then,
looks so soft.
yeah, it's very soft. And then after a certain point, just past the bust line, it's just straight knitting. So that patterning will just be on the upper area of the sweater. So that's what I've been working on kind of all week. I've not been feeling super great, so I've just been taking it easy and working on that. And then, you know how it is when you start something new and you're like obsessive. And the reason why I have so many WIPs is that I just like different techniques and I like learning something. And then then sometimes it's more than I bite off more than I can chew. And then while I was packing up today, I thought I need WIP-GO. I found this WIP that I had started some time ago for Hannah's best friend's mom. This is that one and done shawl with this gorgeous yarn. It's absolutely beautiful Malabrigo. It's called Potion, Potion. And it's so pretty. And what will happen is eventually when I'm done with it, I drop stitches and it makes like a lacy, a lace ladder down. It's so pretty. So I found this and I was like, oh man, I need to work on that. I need to get my WIPs in order. I need to create a schedule for myself. But since, I am the way I am, I remember I told you last week, this is partially hobby, partially work. Okay, right. Remember, there's a woman who is the force to be reckoned with that currently I worked with her with some group sales stuff with Symphony, and she is just one of those people that you're completely drawn to her immediately. And we were talking while I was at work, and I was like, oh yeah, I like to knit. She goes, you knit? Well, you should knit something for me, remember? Yeah. And so I was like, ooh, the yarn I just made. So I emailed her some pictures of the yarn I showed you last week, which was these two skeins of yarn. Here's pictures of them again, so you can remember. And I sent her the pictures, and I told her about it. And so then I'm at work, and I get this, oh, sorry, that was my crochet hook. I get this email from her that's like, can you call me? And I was like, okay. But I saw it during work, but I didn't have time to call her. Ro, come here, that's mine. So I messaged her in the evening, and she didn't write me back. So then the next day I tried to call her, and she was at lunch. She's like, I'll call you back. So finally she calls me in the middle of my work day. And she was talking to me a little bit about the group stuff. And then she's like, oh, and let's talk about knitting. So I'm sitting there at work. I had to go into another room to take the call, but I'm sitting there in the conference room like, well, what kind of things do you like to wear? Anyway, so we kind of settled on maybe, because she's going to Washington, D.C. in December to go to the Kennedy Honors. She's been invited to that, and that's the kind of person she is. So then I said, well, what about like a cowl? She's like, what about a scarf? And I was like, oh, yeah, a little bit. I was like, I don't know if I have enough yarn for a scarf. But she wants something warm to wear. And I thought, well, maybe I have enough yarn for a cowl and a hat set. I shouldn't have said that because I actually don't think I have enough for a hat set for both. But I found a couple of patterns that I'm kind of interested in. Now I'm settling on, I think I want to do a brioche, which is like a rib, but it's reversible. And so what I like about, I think that a brioche pattern would be really great contrasting these two. And here's a mystery. A while ago, I spun a skein of yarn that was beautifully colored. I don't know why the word owl comes to mind, but it was like browns and a little bit of colors like purples. It was really, really pretty. And I spun it and I put it away, and
Is that the one that Hannah took?
no, that was a green one that I made right before she used it. So I don't know where that is, but if I find that, I need to look like, because I've looked through my whole box, I need to go back and look through it again, and I need to look through, I have a bag of, I think of spun yarn, maybe, and I need to look through all my bags, because if I can find that, it would actually kind of complement these. Anyway, she says she likes purple, so I was thinking, so the way brioche works, it's like a rib, but you use two colors, and then it becomes reversible. So I thought that would be kind of cool. So that's what I'm thinking for that. And I haven't worked on Hannah's big sweater.
How many things can you actually work on at the same
I
time?
know.
You're trying to find out, I know.
That's
but-
my problem. And the problem is I just get like sidetracked, whoop. And then, so probably this is taking precedence just because it's something new and shiny. And I fell in love with that yarn, and I was like, I gotta use that yarn right now. I can't get in line. Anyway, I do have too many things to do, as usual. Okay, so shall we talk about giveaway?
Yes.
Yes.
Because we reached 500, thank you so much for subscribing and for hanging in there with us and hanging out with us every week. We are doing a giveaway. Okay, Beth, stop now.
Yes. Okay.
We're doing a giveaway. We're giving
And
away.
she's still doing it.
No, it's okay. We're giving away 3 items. For one for each of us. And I'll start first. We talked about these last week, and we'll talk about them again. You have until what day this week?
The
Friday.
Friday, yeah, so we can.
Friday the, I don't know what day. I'm
I
lost
think
most
it's the
days.
5th.
I don't want to say.
Sunday's
I don't want
the
to
first.
misspeak. I don't want to misspeak.
Sunday is the first, so
Right. I'm just saying you
That
have
would be
until
the 5th,
Friday,
right?
September 6th at midnight. Because we're going to record on September 7th. So if you want to enter this giveaway, you need to have your entries in by Friday, September 6th.
Yeah.
Yes?
yeah, we've received the the entries from this past week. You don't have to enter.
Yeah, you don't have to
again.
enter again. If you commented on last week's video, you're entered.
Unless you commented on 2 things and you go, oh, you know what? I kind of like that third thing. You can do that, but you don't have to enter again.
If you've already entered, you are good. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the one I'm doing. I am going to make you, whoever wins, a custom pair of socks. I will be using this sock yarn. It creates a pattern like this. It's like a self-striping yarn. So I can make a shorty sock like these, or I can make longer socks like this. And what we'll do is, once you win, we'll talk about the length of your foot, the width of your foot, and whether you would like long socks like this or shorty socks like this. The shorty socks have a tab in the back of the heel, which is nice. Keeps them on your, I like them a lot. They stay on my feet. They don't slip down. So that's, and it has like a little bit of a deeper heel. This is more of just a regular heel. And then these come up, they don't have ribbing at the top. They just have what's called a hung hem, but they don't slouch on me. So if that's something you would be interested in. So if you would like to be entered to win a pair of socks, put the word socks in a sentence in the comments below, and you will be entered. And that's the keyword that tells me that you're interested in socks. Don't say giveaway, because that alerts the bots. So don't say giveaway, just enter the word socks in a sentence down below. And then Beth's going to talk about the one she's bringing to the table.
So the one I'm doing is it's an inch by inch series. This one is called Welcome Whale. And it's a complete little kit that comes with a little horn book, little wooden pallet to mount it on, and all the stuff you need. It has all the threads and the linen, and even has finishing stuff, interfacing and instruction how to finish it and all that. So it makes it little teeny weeny. This is as big as it is. Little tiny pattern. So you might need to wear your magnifying glasses or whatever. It doesn't say here what the thread count is, but it's very tiny. So I'm assuming it's like maybe 40 count or thereabouts.
Oh, I just looked up the definition of a hornbook.
Yeah.
A hornbook is a single-sided alphabet tablet which served from medieval times as a primer for study and sometimes included vowel combinations, numerals, or short verse. The hornbook was in common use in England around 1450, but may have originated more than a century earlier. The term hornbook has been applied to different sturdy materials in different fields, but owes its origins to children's education.
Yes.
So it's like a paddle.
Yeah.
Probably you got a spanking with it too.
So is that the kind of thing where you hold up the picture on it and go, okay, what is this?
Anyway, you can make a whale.
I mean, because you just say like hornbook, and
Yeah.
I don't know what a hornbook is, so I wanted to look it up.
So if you are interested in the whale, use the word whale in a sentence.
All right. And so the last one is this bag set. It says Paris,
That's
and
so
it's got a few scenes from Paris. And I will say that it doesn't come across as shiny in the pictures, but the Eiffel Towers are either pink sparkly or silver sparkly. But the Eiffel Towers that you see are glittery.
They're so glittery.
And I don't know why they would make a glittery Eiffel Tower, because it's like, okay, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but the Eiffel Tower is so ugly. If you see it up close, right?
But that makes it look the way it looked during the Olympics.
Yeah.
When it was all lit up.
Yeah.
It was so pretty. I don't think it's ugly.
No, because you've never actually seen it in person. Okay, so each foot is so big that it's like the size of a building, and it's set on a big building thing, right? And so when you're up close to it, all you see is this giant wrought iron stuff. You don't see any of the beauty of it. And then if you go the iconic picture where you can see the whole thing, you know, I think there's water in between, as I recall. That's when you can see how really beautiful that is. And it's amazing to me, that and the Statue of Liberty and all these things, is that wasn't made recently.
Yeah, no.
That
how did they even do it?
yeah. And so I don't know. I just love this. I love this fabric. And if you've been to Paris,
You're gonna love it.
you would really understand how, you know, some of the scenes from this fabric really call to mind Paris.
To be entered to win that bag set, you put the word Paris
In a
sentence.
sentence.
And we have some people very
Oh, and it's
creative.
got a light pink to it. It's got a pink gingham here
and
inside.
inside.
And it's got little pink flowers.
So pretty.
Yeah. So it's a very
That's fun. It's a fun bag.
I like it. And if you're doing something, you know, fun like that, you know, it'd be nice to carry it around in a glittery
fun
little
bag.
bag.
Yeah.
I used to have an inflatable Eiffel Tower.
That's
Until
random.
shortly after I moved here, one of the cats punctured it.
So, speaking of cats puncturing things, let's move on to stories. Eli has bought himself a car Lego kit, and we've been working on it together for a little while. And so we've got one bag left, so we've got the bag still sealed up, and we've got the partial car sitting there. And we use, pro tip, Lego pro tip, coffee filters. They are great for sorting parts, and because they have a little bit of a bowl shape, but they're not a whole bowl, and they kind of will accommodate all different kinds of sizes, and they help you not lose your little pieces. So, coffee filters. So we have that kind of on our back table near our dining table, but loose among the stuff was the sticker sheet. You know, they make the sticker sheets with the little numbers. Now, here's a question for Lego. Why, if I encounter the first sticker in the book, is that sticker on the sheet not labeled number 1? It's labeled number 23. So you're looking on this stupid thing and it's like a million little pieces, and you're like, where's 23? Where's 20? It's the first sticker. Why can't they just have labeled number 1? Anyway, so it's very frustrating. But but it's not even like the way they have to fit them on the sheet that makes the number make sense. Anyway, maybe it's just part of the fun of hunting. So anyway, the sticker sheet was, we had used some and not all, and the sticker sheet was out loose. Well, my cat, Hobbs, thinks that he is a dog. And you know how dogs like to rip paper? Mm-hmm. He loves to rip paper. He loves to shred anything. Sometimes just for fun, we'll give him tissue paper, and he just like, and he'll throw it, spit it out, and then. So the little cat dog got hold of the sticker sheet last night, and it's not ripped, but several of the stickers have little punctures. Yeah. Like, okay, it's still usable, but very, very, very funny. But guess what else happened in my house? Okay, I have to go back. Into everyone's life must come a test in which you are required to consume things that have no dye. ... Purple, no red, no purple dye. Well, so my husband had this test, and all y'all know what it is if you are of a certain age. And I went to the store to look for pre-made Jello cups that were not red or purple, that also contained sugar, because when you don't eat anything, you need sugar, right? Not sugar-free, because I could find plenty of sugar-free Jello, but that doesn't do anybody any good when that's all you're eating. So there is nothing that has sugar and has no red. It said red or purple, but really it should be red or blue, but whatever. Mm-hmm.
There wasn't lemon?
Not pre-made. Oh. So I go to the baking aisle, and now this is the night where he's got to be 24 hours doing this. So really he needed to eat it that night, and I should have done it days before, but did I? No. So I went to the baking aisle, and I got a box of box Jello. And I got a yellow lemon one, because it only had yellow dye, and then I got a green one and had yellow and blue, but they said purple. Now, when someone else in my family had it, it was no blue. But I was like, they didn't say blue, they said purple, but I assume that also means blue, but we're just gonna go with it. So I got a lemon and I got a lime. And I went home, and I'm like, I'm going to channel my 1950s mother, and I'm going to make this Jello, and I'm going to do the quick set method, which is
use ice or whatever.
You use some water with ice, and then take out the ice and let it, before it melts, right? So it said 2 cups of boiling water. And no. What was it? I don't remember. But it said 1.5 cups of cold water with enough ice to make 2.5 cups. And I read it. It was 1.5 cups boiling and 1.5 cups of cold, but with enough ice to make 2.5 cups. So that means 4 total, right? Which is what the boiling and cold overnight method uses, is 4 cups of water. So I was like, okay, I'm a smart person. I can do this. And I put in, my refrigerator makes 2 kinds of ice, because I'm spoiled. I have little bitty ice and I have big chunk ice. And I was like, oh, little ice, that'll be better. And I have this big measuring cup, so I put in 1.5 cups of water, and then I put in ice, but pretty soon the ice filled it and the water level did not rise. So dumb me, what did I do? I put in more water to make the water level go to 2.5 cups. That was wrong. And I put it in I made the hot mixture and I put in the cold, and all the ice, because it was little ice, melted. So now I probably have 3 cups of water instead of 2.5 of cold, right? So I put it in the fridge, like, okay, half an hour to an hour, it'll be set. Nope, it didn't set. It was disappointingly flaccid. So I was like, I can do it again. I'm gonna do it with a green Jello this time. And there's Mark, like, I'm dying, I'm hungry, something to eat. I mean, he was having broth, you know, but he wanted some Jello to sink his teeth into, right? So this time with the lime Jello, I used the big ice, and I did not add any water to it. I just went with it. And I removed the ice before it completely melted, and I did all that, and it sort of set, but never really the way it should have. So I don't know. I'm not a child of. I can't do it. I'm not a 1950s housewife. I can't do it. I could make it the regular way, but something with
the
quick
1950s
set.
housewife would have done it a couple of days before.
I
and
know.
had it. Okay,
That's what I said.
They wouldn't have been trying to figure out the ice.
I'm not that. Okay. But anyway.
And they wouldn't have two kind of fancy ice.
Right, they wouldn't have had two kind of fancy.
They would have had the old kind of in the metal thing.
Yeah. Or chip it off the block. So I had failed Jello and sort of okay Jello in the fridge. So he ate the sort of okay Jello. And then, I don't know, I was out maybe, I don't know what day it was. Let's see, yesterday was Friday. So it must have been on Thursday. Maybe it would have been Wednesday. The guys were cleaning out the kitchen, and they took the failed Jello out. And Mark threw it in the trash. I didn't know this. I love him, but he threw it in the trash, thinking it would remain a solid, which it wasn't even to begin with. It was not solid to begin with. But he thought somehow it would still stay solid-ish in the trash. It did not. It did exactly what Jello would do without refrigeration and with too much water. I did not know this. So then yesterday, I was like, it was my son's birthday, so I was like, all right, let's go. We'll go to Starbucks. But on the way out, and I was working from home that day, so it was a good thing. I pull out the trash bag, and I don't see any problems, and I put some more stuff in there, and I shove it down real hard, tie it up, and we go out. And we go to Starbucks, and we come back, and I come in. Now, in my kitchen, in my house, we come down the hall, and you can go one of two ways to my bedroom, which is over here. You can go through the kitchen, which is where the trash can was, or you can go around this way, through the dining room area, and it's like a little circle. So I must have come this way, not through the kitchen, and I went in my room, I took off my shoes, and then I walked out to go say something to Eli.
Oh gosh.
And I put my entire foot in a puddle of something in the middle of my kitchen. And I didn't yet realize how sticky it was, but I was like, what is this? And the only thing I think was the cat peed in here, because I could see that it was a color. But I'm like, oh no. And then I'm like, wait.
Did it trail all the way outside?
No, it did not. Probably because it was still sort of semi-solid. But Eli did track it, and it was on his shoes, and there was more of it in the hall. But I didn't know what it was at first. I was like, Eli, better go around the other way. So he comes in, and and so I get a paper towel, and literally I was able to wipe it off, but it stuck to my foot. Meanwhile, the other foot somehow also had it. And then I'm standing there, I'm like, give me a wet paper towel. So I'm washing my foot and trying to put my foot somewhere that isn't sticky. And then I'm trying to wash the other foot, and then I had to, get wet paper towels I put paper towel on the floor first to soak up what I thought was I don't know what. And then I started to realize that it was the Jello. And I was like, and poor Eli, he took the fall for it. He's like, I threw it away. Actually, Mark told me, I don't know, it was me. But so then I go to wipe, to pick up the paper towels I had initially put down, and one of them ripped because it was still stuck to the tile. So I get wet paper towel and kind of wipe it up, and then I start looking, and no, it's in the hall, but not as much, not as thick, but you know, and Eli's moving with his shoes, and it's like stick, and I'm like, oh no. So
kind of like Cinnamon.
Yes. So finally, I like washed the bottom of his shoes with paper towel, and I'm like, get out of here. And I went and we inherited a wet jet from his apartment. We usually use a steamer on the floor, but I'm not taking out the steamer. That's Mark's job. But so I took out the wet jet. Well, the cats, I don't think had ever seen the wet jet. So Calvin, who's interested in everything, was like, what is that? I'm like, get away from here. You get poisoned with this stuff. So I mopped the whole kitchen, but it's been a while since I've used a wet jet. So anyway, I was using it, and first I was in the wrong place, and then I was like, I'm doing it backwards. Anyway, I wet jetted myself all through the kitchen and all down the hall, and got stranded in Eli's room. So then I was there kind of waiting for the floor to dry a little. But then I see Calvin coming down the hall, and he's stepping like this, and he's smelling the floor, and he's all freaked out, and he goes, and I thought, oh no. So I go down, and the pads are out in the garage too, which is like, I had to go, you know, so I had only brought in one. So I go down, and I see in the hallway a giant puddle of wet jet stuff, and then I go in the kitchen, and there's just puddles of wet jet stuff. So I'm like hopping on my toes, trying to get around the wet, and I go back out to the garage and get another pad to soak it up. And so then I'm going through again on the floor, back through the kitchen, and accidentally push the jet down. And I'm like, oh my. So I finally got it all set. But the cats are like, wow, what is that? And I'm like, I was just so like, I couldn't believe it. And I told Mark, we had a Jello disaster. And so I told what happened. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it was you. So my boss later on texts me, messages me on Teams. She's like, oh, happy Friday. How's your day going? I said, well, I stepped in something weird in my kitchen, and here's the whole story. So I told her that whole story, and she writes back, and she was laughing. She's like, I read that whole thing and didn't take a breath. I'm just like, unbelievable.
But when I lived in Little Rock in my apartment, I don't know what. Oh, I think I had thrown away like watermelon rinds.
Oh no.
And you know, I had poured the juice down the drain or whatever, you know, but I had just put these watermelon rinds in the trash. And I didn't think it through, and I went to throw the trash away. And I lived in an apartment inside on the second floor, so the dumpster where the trash went was, you know, downstairs and outside. And so I went to take the trash bag out of my trash can, and it was like, you know, leaking rotten, stinky watermelon juice all over the floor. So I'm like, you know, trying to double bag the, you know. And, but the worst thing was one time when I had, I don't know if they were in the drawer in my refrigerator, or it was like, they were like, well, I had a zucchini in my vegetable drawer in my refrigerator, and I just never got around to using it, and so I thought, I'm going to throw it away. And I went in to grab it, and I stuck my thumb into it.
Isn't that awful? You're like, okay, I need to throw this out. Oh no, I can't even pick it up.
And then I had a bag of asparagus from Costco, because we're like, I like very like generously thought of myself that I would somehow use all this. We did use it, but then, and Mark was like, I don't really like it. And I was like, because I roasted it, and it got a little mushy, and he's like, I don't really like it. So then I had this giant bag, and I didn't pay attention to it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, something in the fridge is not good. Something's wrong. And yeah, it was the giant bag of asparagus. Also broccoli, it doesn't like you if you ignore it for too long.
When I worked at Family Life in Little Rock, we were they were building a new building. We were building a new building, and because we had been in a rented space, office space, and so each department, was responsible for like cleaning out their break room and their refrigerator and all that. And so this older lady and I were doing that, and so we were, telling people, come and take your dishes home, or your, whatever, your Tupperware and all this stuff. And so some people did, but like other people just like
ignored it.
Either they ignored it or forgot it or whatever. But so we called her the amazing Edna. And she was like, and I told her, you are braver than I am, because she was going in there and she was like opening up these containers like, that's right. I'm like,
that's what our executive secretary will do. I call her Mom. I'm like, thanks, Mom. Somebody, the other day I was putting my lunch in the refrigerator, and somebody had like a portion of, looked like an English cucumber with a little bit of plastic on one end, but then the actual cucumber was exposed at the end where that had been cut. And I'm like, is this your house? Where do you have, it was just in there by itself. It wasn't in a bag. It was just sitting on the shelf. I'm like, no. That's what you do at home. You just put your cucumber on your shelf. This is where people work. Like,
I don't.
Weird.
So neither of you have worked in fast food, but if people throw like half their drink, or it's just ice or whatever, and they just toss it in the trash and they don't think anything of it. So 99.9% of the time, when you throw out a bag,
it's liquid.
You know it's going to drip. So you do not do it before it's going to be mopped, because it will need to be mopped. There is just no way. And that's why sometimes they'll take the entire can out and take it out outside.
Yeah.
Because, and people aren't trying to be gross or anything. Yeah, they're just trying to, it's better than leaving it on the table, They're just trying to throw out their trash.
Well, Mark was like, well, I didn't think that it would. I'm like, why didn't you just pour it down the sink? You just put hot water and it turns into liquid. Like, he said, well, I didn't think it would leak out the bag. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, and people who design things, design your grocery bag that doesn't leak like a sieve. That would be wonderful. Because it happens. It happens with a lot of stuff.
One time I was coming home I had just bought groceries, and I was coming home, and again, like I lived on the second floor, and so I had the bags in my hands or something. I don't know what, but I had a gallon of milk jug, and I did something and I dropped it, and I was on the landing of the stairs, and I dropped it, and it cracked open and like spilled milk everywhere. And I felt horrible, because it was like, it's an apartment, and the floor was
what are you gonna do?
Carpeted.
It's gonna stink.
So I was just like, I tried to mop it up as best I could, but
Do you remember when Mom broke the McElhaney milk in the driveway?
Yes. Clanged the two glass bottles together.
She used to get milk from a dairy that was very close to where she worked. And it was good milk, let me tell you. I don't like milk, but I like that. And
but it came in glass bottles.
She was trying to carry everything in, and so she tried to hold both of the milks in the same hand, and it didn't work out real well. The milk going all the way down the driveway.
Eli dropped I guess when he was living at his apartment, at first place he dropped a thing of milk like that, and it went all over the floor. They used to have carts to bring their groceries, and it fell off the cart. It's like the worst.
So yesterday, I had a very frustrating day.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't, like I said, I don't know who to be more angry with. Simon Med, my non-favorite place, or my doctor's office. Ordinarily, I love my doctor, and ordinarily I have no problems with his office. And I don't know how this happened. I'm assuming it's maybe partially Simon bed. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody dropped the ball. Somebody did something wrong. I don't know. But so those of you who've been around for a long time know that I had brain surgery back in 2016, and I had like I guess technically I still have it.
I thought it was 17.
No, it was 2016. No, 2017 was a skin graft. Another story.
Oh yeah.
but so because I have like a sliver of this tumor left in my brain, in my head, they monitor it by taking annual MRIs to make sure that it's not growing or whatever. But I also had hydrocephalus at that time, so they put a shunt in. So I have a shunt over here, and it has a little the little mechanism that adjusts it is magnetic. So if they have to adjust it, and like when I first got it, I think I went in and they adjusted the setting on it, and so they put a little magnet on your head, and because the shunt adjustment thing is magnetic, so they put a little magnet here and they go and
It doesn't
move
make
it
that
around.
sound.
How do you know?
It doesn't make that sound.
But anyway, so they twist it around and it moves the setting on the shunt. Excuse me. So when I have an MRI, of course, MRI means magnetic resonance imaging or whatever it is. So of course there's a big magnet involved. And so there's always a chance that the magnet in the MRI machine will move the setting on my shunt. So whenever I have this brain MRI, or any MRI, I guess, they take an X-ray of my head, of the setting, and then I do the MRI, and then they take another X-ray to make sure that the setting hasn't changed. So this has always been basically not a problem for me. I've just, walked into Simon Med and had the imaging done, and they do the X-ray before, and the MRI, and the X-ray. And so I don't know how many times I've had this done, but last time the doctor said I could wait 2 years, so it was 2022 was the last one I had, and so and then I have my checkup coming up. And so they sent the order to Simon Med for my MRI. And so I get there, and so I'm talking to the little technician guy, and he's telling me, and for what also, which was very strange, they ordinarily, because I usually just take off my watch and my bra, because the bra has little metal hooks on there or whatever. And so, because you're not supposed to take anything metal into the MRI place. And so so usually that's all I do, right? But so this time the guy told me, oh yeah, take everything off except your underwear and your shoes, and here's these little robes. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so you don't walk barefoot, I don't know. But so I'm like, okay, so I'm like, I have to take everything off. But anyway, so I was in the little robes or whatever, and I told the guy as he was, escorting me and telling me what to change into, I said something about, the X-rays, that I have the X-ray before and after, because I said I have a shunt and blah blah blah, and so it's like, oh, he seemed kind of surprised, and so then so. After I was getting ready, I think at that time, anyway, he came in and said, well, they're having trouble with something about about the X-ray. They were having trouble. I guess it wasn't in the order for the MRI. It wasn't mentioned, and even though I had when you do the little pre-appointment paperwork on the computer or whatever, and I had put that I had a shunt and la la la. And, but so I get there, and they said, well, we're, been trying to get a hold of the doctor's office because it's not part of the order and blah, blah, blah. And I said, it's never been a problem before. They've just done the x-ray and, and they're, well, I don't know, blah, blah, And the girl up front, I guess, had tried to call the doctor's office, and the person there had her on hold for I don't know how long. And then they said, well, we can get an order for the x-ray, but we can't guarantee that you can get it today. And she said, well, you might have more luck if you call them yourself. I don't know. She said, I tried to talk to them, and so I called, and I got a guy. I guess he was the same guy that she had talked to. And he said, oh, yeah, well, you can have them fax us, and we get the request, and we have the doctor sign it, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yes, but can you get it to them today? And he said, well, I don't know. And I'm like,
I'm sitting right here.
Yeah, and so I went to talk to the girl, and she said, well, no, we don't fax them. They have to send it to us, or whatever, And I'm like, okay, just never mind. So I rescheduled my appointment for Tuesday, and then I went, and I had already been there for like an hour.
More than
an hour and a half, yeah, at least, because I got there a little before 10. My appointment was at 10. And or 10:30, I don't know.
It was at 10:15 or something.
Yeah, and so it was like after 11 when I was on the phone talking to the guy.
Oh man.
And so finally, like I said, I rescheduled my appointment because my appointment with my doctor is on the 9th. So I wanted to get it done, as soon as possible. But my choices were 8:30 on Tuesday, 8 o'clock on Wednesday, or I had to wait till Saturday. And I'm like, eh. So then when I came home, I called my doctor's office again, and I think I called a different number than what I had in my phone. I looked up, because I was looking on the website, because there was something about, patient portal, blah, 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 and I thought, okay, maybe it's on the website. But I didn't see it on the website, but there was a different phone number. So I called that phone number, and I got this girl almost immediately. And so I told her, the whole rigmarole that I'd gone through, and she's like, oh, I don't know. And so, but also, yeah, she said something about, like, they could get the paperwork to the doctor, but they couldn't. I said, well, I have the appointment on Tuesday, so I got to have it done today.
Why can't they just make it a part of the order? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they always had, and this time whoever sent it didn't.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Who
I don't
knows?
know. But the thing is that,
But something's weird because, Beth is being charged a lot more for her services there, and and the insurance company's like, yeah, that's what it costs, and you're like,
yeah. But but also I remember one time, because I guess they have to have a radiologist read the X-ray to see, to make sure it's all right. And that person is a different person than the one who reads the MRI, or they don't read the MRI, they send it to the doctor's office. I don't know. But the only other time that I really had a problem was that after they took the post X-ray, that they said, I had to wait until they could tell me that it was okay. But so I guess they didn't have a person who could read it at that point. And so I had to sit there and sit there and sit there. And I think I was waiting, I don't know, like half an hour. And then they finally said, well, we'll go ahead and go home. We'll just call you if there's a problem. Like,
if my shunt is messed up,
yeah.
you want me to go home?
And I told the technician guy that I was talking to, how that had happened. And he goes, yeah, that's really dangerous because you could die. I don't know. But, yeah, because I guess part of the problem was they couldn't get a radiologist to look, I don't know. So I didn't have the procedure. It wasted like 2 hours of my life.
One time Beth went with me, I needed an x-ray. And I went in there, at Simon Med, you can't make an appointment for an x-ray. And I went in there and said, what is your weight for x-rays? I checked in. What is the weight? And she said, oh, just half an hour. It was summer. But Beth wanted to wait in the car so she could more comfortably stitch, right? And it was like 4 hours.
Oh, gosh.
And I kept texting Beth that, you know, status updates. But when I went in, I didn't think to leave Beth the key, you know, because they said it was just going to be half an hour, you know. And by the time I came out...
Was that Simon Med?
Yeah.
They're awful.
By the time I came out, Beth was so hot and sweaty. And so I don't remember why I was talking to my insurance company. And I think I was talking to them about something concerning Simon Med. I don't know. And I said, they are awful when you need to get an x-ray. They don't let you make an appointment. And I said, the last time I went, I had to wait 4 hours. So that insurance company, and I really like this about them, they contacted Simon Med and said that they had a complaint, right? So Simon Med says, we haven't seen her in a whole year. That couldn't have been, no, that can't be true. I'm like, well, after that visit, I refused to go there, but I assure you I was there, you know? And it's like, come on. If your policy is walk-in only on x-rays, own it, you know?
The funny thing was that when I was sitting there waiting, because when I checked in, they would tell me they were running behind or whatever, so I was like, oh,
Big
okay,
surprise.
of course. So I was in the waiting room, and it was very full. The waiting room was pretty full, and they have a flat screen TV, but instead of having a show or something on the television, they had like a music channel or whatever on there. So, and it was kind of loud. It was a little loud for, you know, but whatever. But the worst thing was, you know, there were some semi-familiar songs or whatever, you know, but there was a guy who was, I don't know if he was waiting for somebody else. I don't know if he was the patient or whatever, but he's sitting there, you know, like scrolling around his phone, but he's like singing along with the music. And I'm like, stop it. It's like, why are you singing? I want to hear. It's like nobody in this room wants to hear you singing.
Some people sing along, and they don't really realize they're doing
I don't think he, you know, he wasn't singing really loud, but he was singing audibly. You know, you could tell he, you know, like.
That's how I find good songs, though. So I found this one song, and I was at Michael's, and I'm like, what is that song? So I pull up my phone, I'm like, what is this song? And listen to it. It was a really cool song called Colorado. Anyway, and then another time I sent one of the songs I found. I sent to my daughter, and she wrote back, and she's like, "How did you find that? Or what is this band?" And I said, "I have no idea." I said, "I find my songs like a discarded dollar bill on the street," because the way I found that song is called "Paradise" by who's the band? I can't think of it right now. It's called Paradise, and it's just the coolest sounding song, and it was because I was scrolling Facebook, and recently up in Lake Powell, one of the natural bridges, or like one of this natural formation collapsed.
Yeah.
And so people were talking about it on like on a camping site on Facebook, camping group on Facebook and stuff. So people were talking about it, and somebody was talking about it, lamenting how they used to love it. They called it the toilet bowl because it was kind of shaped like that, and you could go into it and look up and see this whole circle. Well, part of that toilet bowl is what collapsed. Didn't hurt anybody. But anyway, this one boater posted a video of them inside the toilet bowl, so he was like, oh, I remember when we were there last year, whatever. But so the video is just them in the boat, and they're looking at the formation, but playing in the music on their boat was that song. And I was like, that is a cool song. So I'm looking at the comments, and everyone's like, oh, Paradise, I love that song. So I told Ann, I'm like, I just find songs like discarded money on the street.
That's like one of my favorite songs is a song called Queen Bee by Taj Mahal. And I first heard it when I worked at Little Rock, at Family Life in Little Rock, in our old building. I was I was ordering a computer, my gateway. So this is probably 2000, 1999, thereabouts, something like that. So I'm on the phone and I'm ordering this computer, and so I'm gonna pay for it or whatever. So I was on hold while they were, doing their whatever voodoo they do. And so they were playing that "Who Are You" song by the Who, and something else, and then this Queen Bee song that I'd never heard before. So I'm like, like it's cycling through on the hold music. And I'm like, what is that song? And of course, it doesn't tell you on the hold music, But I'm like, that's such a cool song. I like that. I really like that song. But all I knew was the words I could make out, Queen Bee or whatever. But I didn't know the name of the artist. I didn't know the name of the song and nothing. And so, so I then went on with the transaction, and so I just had the song in my head. Well, at some point, my friend Greg and I, we regularly, whenever we were both in town, which usually a couple of years apart, in Albuquerque, because his parents lived in Albuquerque and my parents lived in Albuquerque, so but we would do what I called our cafe crawl. So we would go to, there was a little area that we would go to, all the little restaurants in that area, and and like have dinner here and dessert there and whatever. So one of the places we went was some little shop there, and it was like a little, coffee dessert shop, and playing on the music was that song Queen Bee. And I'm like, because they had a CD in the little CD player or whatever. So I'm like, what is that song? What is that song? And so the girl said, I think it, and so she had the CD there or whatever. So, but it was by Taj Mahal, Queen Bee, and it was on this Putumayo Presents Mali to Memphis, a bunch of jazz music from Mali and from Memphis,
Neat.
And so it's a really cool album. But she said, I don't think she knew the name of the album, I guess. So I went, there was a record store in that neighborhood. So at one point, so Greg and I were at the record store, and I'm looking at all the Putumayo Presents series of records, trying to find, Queen Bee or whatever. And I'm like, so every time I would go somewhere, where they sold CDs, I would look through it.
Did you ever finally find it?
Yes, I did. I found it at, I want to say at Barnes & Noble or someplace like that, finally.
Yeah. That's
but yeah.
Hannah found Vampire Weekend that way. We were at the band, Vampire Weekend. We were at a coffee shop over here in Ahwatukee near Trader Joe's. There's that place called, or I don't know if it's there anymore. Oh, I can't think of the name. It was named after a flower or something. I can't think of it now, but it was kind of like an all natural foods coffee shop and cafe kind of thing. Anyway, we were there, and Hannah's like, what is this music? It's really cool. So she went up and asked them, and they were playing a CD by Vampire Weekend. So that kind of entered our radar then. But that's you talk about the computer. When we've got our very first full-on Windows computer, I think it was a Packard Bell. And it had a music video on it to be this is what video is like. You remember back in those days? And it was Buddy Holly by Weezer. And I watched that video a million times. I love that song.
Just like Buddy Holly.
Yeah. But that song Paradise is by Stick Figure. I just looked it up. But yeah, so I made Hannah laugh, and I said, I don't know, I find my songs on the street, like $1 bill discarded.
Well, we've been talking for 2 hours or something, so we should probably...
Yes, and I've got to go. I've got to got things to do today. And so make sure you enter our giveaway. Thank you so much for joining us. For all of our new subscribers, I think we were, last I looked, we were at 510. So that's really cool. Do that and make sure you like and subscribe and put on your little bell so you hear when we come. But we always come. Our videos always come Sunday morning at 5 a.m. Arizona time, unless something happens to me and I sleep through it. But usually that's what we do. So we will see you next week for sure. Thanks so much for joining us again. Bye.
Bye.
Look at this. We're all kind of a palette of gray.
Yeah, as I was saying.
Like
A gradient.
Thanks so much. Bye.